Clear the air with Kia.
San Francisco driving is wild. Steep hills, tight streets, and traffic that's slower than the fog. But my Kia Hybrid loves it. All those hills help charge the battery. I went from the marina to Bernal Heights, detoured to Oakland, then drove the coast to Half Moon Bay. Still haven't filled up.
Kia Hybrids like the Niro and Sportage Hybrid go further on a single tank. No chargers, no stress. And with regenerative braking tech that turns stop and go into smart efficiency, you'll drive more and fill up less. Find your balance at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
Meanwhile, the Bears could have mass confusion on their sidelines. Half of the people there were going to be players and staff. The other half will be National Guard troops who have just arrived into Chicago. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Welcome to Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. I am Norman Chad. Coming up on the program today, America is hot, hot, hot. Man, we are hot. Black quarterbacks are hot, hot, hot. And my NFL picks are back. They are hot, hot, hot. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos. Picked fresh off of Central California trees every morning, delivered directly to your local retailer every afternoon. And by the refreshing taste of Fresca. Fritos and Fresca, it's a meal. We are hot. And I mean America, comma, United States of. Let me quote the current resident of the master bedroom at the White House. Don Trump Sr. wrote on social media, quote, "In just a short period of time, I made the United States of America the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, it was dead," end quote. We were dead, but we became the Lazarus of authoritarian democratic republics. Trump raised us from the dead. The president now has mentioned this hottest country in the world business in a couple of speeches, and I can confirm it. Let's go over to our big map. Now, unfortunately, due to budgetary constraints, we do not have a map of the entire world. However, we do have a map of most of North America. Let's take a closer look. All right. Canada, north of us, kind of cold. South of us, Mexico, not hot. But if you look across the entirety of the United States of America, hot, 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 hot. This is why we are the hottest country in the world, thanks to the president. By the way, while we're here, I'd just like to point out that there is still an area of the United States. It's a hotbed of lefty, pinko, lunatics. That's right, Hollywood, communists. Phoenix, of course, is always very, very hot. Now back to the desk. So, how did we get so hot? Most civil liberties denied? Most illegal immigrants deported? Most anti-vaxxers? Most J6 infidels released into the general population? It's a combination of all of that. Plus, the world realizes that when they zag, we zig. And if we're zigging, they shouldn't be zagging. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you, as far as this hottest country ever, I wasn't sure we could ever get as hot or any hotter than we were back in those halcyon days when Baywatch was being viewed worldwide by like 6 billion people. I mean, one look at David Hasselhoff, and I think that half the women on earth would want to move to Malibu. I will say this. President Trump believes, he sincerely thinks that America is hot is because he makes all the best deals. Please. Your local Toyota dealership makes all the best deals. Actually, the only people I think still driving American cars are in Cuba. Anyhow, by whatever means, we have shot up to the #1 spot on the United Nations Billboard Top 100. Yeah, that exists just like it does for the music business. We're #1 with a bullet. Frankly, we're number one with a lot of bullets. Don't forget our tried and true national motto, shoot first, thoughts and prayers later, baby. Before we move on, we always move on. One unrelated note. Until a few weeks ago, I always thought gerrymander was the beaver. Blue like that one. Haven't talked to my buddy, Earth CEO Elon Musk, for a while. I was busy at the World Series of Poker, and of course, summertime is Elon's mating season. So we didn't cross paths recently. Anyway, I don't want to get all caught up again in the Elano-maniacal world of Mr. Musk, so I'm going to be brief. Elon this week said that the number one existential threat to the West is population decline, and the number two threat is migration. I'm in lockstep with Elon on a bunch of things, but we differ slightly in this particular area. I believe the number one threat to the West and the world is climate change, and the number two threat is Elon himself. I don't want to get into the particulars right now. That's a rabbit hole that I never dig myself out of. So we're going to move on. I don't want to get into those particulars. Why? Because I'm actually in a good mood today, because pro football returns this week. It is NFL season again. Have you seen me smile this much in like 6 months? And again, we have a lot of pretenders out there in the sports betting space. They will give you endless analytics and still be wrong at least half of the time. They will lie to you, claiming past successes that never occurred. And they will ask you for your money sometimes, and your money would be better served getting Greta Thunberg a better hairstyle. We are the real thing. We don't lie, and we do better than them. Remember, you always lose less with Gambling Mad. We don't do great, but we're on the north side of 50% here every year at Gambling Mad. Why do I keep saying we? We? It's me! I don't have a staff of researchers. I have Blue plus 3 production people here in the studio, 2 of whom are leafing through a tattoo catalog as we speak. I'm not lying about any of this. Here is my certified, documented record. The last 4 seasons, I have picked NFL games against the spread. Always over 500, there. Okay, this particular season, it was a light season for me due to hemorrhoids. You believe me. And then last year, 39, 34, and 2. It's heavy lifting to always do this well, but, I have really a well-developed upper body bicep situation going on, even though I never go to the gym. Before we get to this week's opening picks, let me give you one season win total wager. I am recommending the Giants, the pitiful New York Giants, to go over 5.5. That's right. I'm going to take them being at least 6-11 or better. This wager, by the way, approved by the man himself, the king. His name is Gary Margolis. A lot of you don't know who the king is, don't know Gary Margolis, but he's probably the smartest losing pro football handicapper I know. So we're going to go with the king on this one, take the Giants over 5.5 victories for this year. Let's get to this week's picks. I am stoked! Bengals at Browns. Let's talk quarterbacks. Joe Burrow versus Joe Flacco. Battle of the Joes. Joe Burrow is one of the NFL's top 5 quarterbacks. Joe Flacco is in his 18th season with his 5th team in the last 8 years. Burrow is 4 years removed from making a Super Bowl appearance. Flacco is 9 years away from an AARP membership. Don't get me wrong. Flacco can still sling the long ball, but it's hard for the Browns to run their hurry-up offense because he needs to go to the restroom so frequently. I hate giving this many points. in a division rivalry game, but I have no confidence in any 40-year-old plus athlete other than LeBron James. I am taking the Bengals and giving the 4.5 points. Cardinals at Saints. I'm going to ask New Orleans Saints fans to leave the room for a few minutes, well, just a few moments, because what I'm about to say is rather horrifying. The Saints starting quarterback is Spencer Rattler. Yep, that Spencer Rattler. The backup quarterback is Tyler Shough. I am forced to say Shough because I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Spencer Rattler was 0-6 as a rookie starter last year, and he threw more interceptions than touchdown passes. Tyler Shough is a rookie this year who will turn 26 years old later this month. You don't find a whole lot of folks who spend 7 years in college other than maybe Screech from Saved by the Bell. Shough played at 3 different schools over those 7 years, and I think one of the universities was DeVry. I am taking the Cardinals here as a 6.5 point favorite. Time now for the Colander Game of the Week. Calendar Game of the Week picks 58%. 58% going back to 1999. Panthers at Jaguars. Carolina was 5-12 last season. But toward the end of the season, they lost by just 3 points to the Chiefs. They lost by 6 points to the Eagles. Those were the Super Bowl teams. And they lost by only 3 points to the Buccaneers, another playoff team. Yeah, I took notes. I have a TV. So I believe the Panthers and quarterback Bryce Young will be improved in 2025. I will gladly take the 3.5 points, and I think Carolina, frankly, they can win outright in Jacksonville. All right? Taking the Panthers plus 3.5. By the way, why do we have an NFL team in Jacksonville again? Seems like a reasonable question.
Clear the air with Kia.
San Francisco driving is wild. Steep hills, tight streets, and traffic that's slower than the fog. But my Kia Hybrid loves it. All those hills help charge the battery. I went from the Marina to Bernal Heights, detoured to Oakland, then drove the coast to Half Moon Bay. Still haven't filled up.
Kia hybrids like the Niro and Sportage Hybrid go further on a single tank. No chargers, no stress. And with regenerative braking tech that turns stop and go into smart efficiency, you'll drive more and fill up less. Find your balance at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
Ravens at Bills. The Ravens might be the NFL's best team. Great coach, great quarterback, great defense. However, in the last 3 seasons, the Bills are 22-3 at home. Last year, the Bills were 8-0 at home. For those of you who are a little slow, 8-0 means they did not lose a game all year in Buffalo. Plus, the Ravens, they got some bad intel, and they might overdress because it is Buffalo, and it's always cold in Buffalo, and it's a night game in Buffalo. But they're forgetting it is the first week of September. It will be like 55 degrees at game time. Lamar Jackson is going to look ridiculous in a parka on the sideline and wearing Burberry gloves on the field. This game could be a Super Bowl preview, other than the fact that these two teams play in the same conference and can't be in the Super Bowl together. Yeah, I follow this stuff. I'm taking the Bills and giving 1.5 points. Vikings at Bears. Minnesota is the more talented team. Minnesota has won 7 of its last 8 games against Chicago. Minnesota has quarterback J.J. McCarthy and running back Aaron Jones, and I am a J.J. McCarthy and Aaron Jones fan. I even wrote them fan letters in the offseason. They have not responded. Meanwhile, the Bears could have mass confusion on their sidelines. Half of the people there are going to be players and staff. The other half will be National Guard troops who have just arrived into Chicago. I ran a simulation of this game on my electric football set, and Minnesota won 23.5-19. How did they score a half point? I don't know. NFL rules are always changing. I'm taking the Vikings as a 1.5 point favorite. All right. What do these 16 individuals have in common? Jaden Daniels, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix Jr., Dak Prescott, Spencer Rattler, Geno Smith, C.J. Stroud, Cam Ward, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson, and Bryce Young. What do those 16 have in common? 1, they are starting quarterbacks in the NFL. 2, they are all black, which means that for the first time ever, half of the starting quarterbacks in the National Football League will be black. Okay. Should we be taking note of this? Fair question. Actually, yes. It's possible, some of these fellows, got their jobs through DEI initiatives. Some of them, of course, I assume, were the most talented quarterback on the team. DEI or not, quarterback was the last holdout on team rosters in terms of racial discrimination. The long-standing stereotype was simple. Blacks are not smart enough to play the position. Now, this thinking is always extended beyond quarterback. You hear the saying that blacks aren't smart enough to be the head coach or a sales manager or a corporate executive and so on. This runs deep, and it has derailed careers forever. So, yeah, I think it's a significant milestone. In 1968, Marlon Briscoe became the first starting quarterback in professional football for the AFL's Denver Broncos. So it took 57 years from then until this season's 50% mark. Back in the day, almost every black quarterback was converted to another position when they reached the professional ranks because it was assumed they could not think well enough or pass well enough. But we knew they could run. Man, could they run. Though I got to say, I know a boatload of black people now, and not a single one of them is all that fast. Times change. Ralphie VI. That's Ralphie VI. The Colorado Buffaloes mascot announced her retirement after 4 years. She is an animal. It had been noted last season that Ralphie VI had an indifference to running. Well, okay, first of all, Ralphie, mascot for the Colorado Buffaloes, Ralphie's a bison, not a buffalo. Second of all, a spokesman or a spokesperson for Ralphie VI said she is, quote, happiest relaxing on the ranch, and we want to be respectful of her needs, end quote. Third of all, if they had really wanted to be respectful of her needs, they never should have made a bison or a buffalo go to a stadium all day long for a college football game. Speaking of which, and I am not making any of this up, PETA has stepped in. They have asked the school not to replace Ralphie VI with another buffalo or bison, and PETA has offered to pay for a robot Ralphie. I agree with PETA here. It is cruel to the animals to make them do what they're asked to do. In fact, I would match PETA's offer with one of my own. I'd be willing to be the mascot myself. Unfortunately, I can't run a lick, and I hate college football. Time for Degens. Gonna Degen. This is the case of Chinese-born billionaire property developer Philip Dong Fang Li. He lost a lot of money at the Star Casino in Sydney, Australia, and now he's suing to get it back. Li lost tens of millions of dollars gambling at Baccarat, but he says the casino had him sign credit extensions that he did not understand and that the casino exploited his pathological gambling addiction. Now, I don't know enough about this particular case to get into the nitty-gritty of it, and I hate to be in the position of defending the house, but let me explain one thing. We have seen these lawsuits before when it is alleged a casino should have cut off a gambler from more gambling, or the casino kept serving the gambler too much alcohol. The thing is, if you want to keep gambling, the casino seldom says no. If you want to keep ordering free liquor, the casino seldom says no. Does the casino sometimes take advantage of someone's gambling habit? Oh, yeah. That's what they're there to do. That's what they do. They're in business to take advantage of you. Nail salons make money on people who are obsessed with making their toenails look good. Now, I would never, I don't want to minimize a gambling addiction, but, houses of gambling are not going to administer a gambling mental health test before you start giving them your money. As far as losing tens of millions of dollars, there's that old saying, bet with your head, not over it. Plus, there's the simple notion that sometimes you have to take responsibility for your actions. And by the way, was Lee betting over his head? To be honest, no, he could easily afford these losses. Let's take a look at that for a second. He is a billionaire. That's a millionaire with a B. Billionaire. He wagered more than 2.25 billion Australian dollars on baccarat, with losses totaling $57 million Australian. Okay, let's translate that to American dollars, because many of you are American, or at least here in America illegally. He bet $1.5 billion US and lost 37 million. 1.5 billion, lost 37 million. That's the equivalent of betting 150 million and losing $3.7 million. That's the same as betting 15 million and losing $370,000, which is the same as betting 1.5 million and losing 37,000, which is like betting 150,000 and losing 3,700, which is the equivalent as betting $15,000 and losing $370. Okay, now we're getting to numbers we can relate to. $15K, $370. If over the course of a week in Las Vegas, you bet $15,000 on sports, blackjack, roulette, craps, whatever, and you lost $370, that's not that much. You're actually ahead of the game. Those numbers make sense, and they add up reasonably, as does Lee, when wagering $1.5 billion, only losing $3.7 million. One final note, baccarat might not be his game. I want to talk to David Justice for a moment, if I might. What a life he led in the 1990s. Three-time MLB All-Star, making $6 or $7 million a season, and he married Halle Berry. Halle Berry. Well, the marriage did not last 5 years. And speaking recently on the All the Smoke podcast, Justice said that she didn't cook, she didn't clean, and she didn't seem motherly. Now, I don't know Halle Berry personally, but from a distance, I would not expect a Hollywood diva actress to cook and clean. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, I doubt you cooked much, and I doubt you were cleaning. And motherly? You thought she should be more motherly? You didn't have any kids! So I'm not surprised this relationship tumbled. Relationships, my friend, are tricky. My first wife left me largely because she needed to go to the ER one autumn Sunday. And I told her we would have to wait until halftime of a game I was watching. It was a good game. By the way, do you think I'm kidding? I'm not. Take a look at this. Huh? Look at this. What is this? This is the book I wrote. What's the title of the book? Hold on, honey. I'll take you to the hospital at halftime. All right? Yeah, that's me. 30 years ago, ooh, I had to fight them off with a remote and that clicker. Yeah, that's me. 30 years ago. That is not my wife, who was no longer speaking to me. That's a Los Angeles actress model who was playing my wife. By the way, if you want to buy this book, you can get it on Amazon, eBay, whatever. It's like $1.50, $1.99. Hold on, honey. I'll take you to the hospital at halftime.
Clear the air with Kia.
San Francisco driving is wild. Steep hills, tight streets, and traffic that's slower than the fog. But my Kia Hybrid loves it. All those hills help charge the battery. I went from the Marina to Bernal Heights, detoured to Oakland, then drove the coast to Half Moon Bay. Still haven't filled up.
Kia hybrids like the Niro and Sportage Hybrid go further on a single tank. No chargers, no stress. And with regenerative braking tech that turns stop and go into smart efficiency, you'll drive more and fill up less. Find your balance at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Have you seen the new Oval Office? It looks like Marie Antoinette lives there. Apparently, President Trump went to Fort Knox and withdrew 7,000 bars of gold from the ATM. Everything in the room is gold trimmed or gold framed. If an Olympic athlete lost a gold medal in the new Oval Office, it would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Trump's new Oval Office is, in a word, gaudy, garish, tasteless, obscene. Okay, I guess that's 4 words. You know, I'm reminded when Trump opened his opulent Trump Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City in 1990. Trump proudly showed off the German crystal chandeliers in the joint, many of them costing $250,000 each. 27 years later, at the casino's liquidation sale, those $250,000 decorative babies went for about $35K. At least they lit up the place well until the place went belly up. That will do it for another edition of Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, if you're going to roll the dice, make sure they're loaded.
I always tell my buddies to stop betting, but that they never listen. And some of them love to bet parlays. They can't get one game right. How are they going to get 5 games right? There's an old joke. A guy loses every bet he makes for a couple of weeks. He asks a sharp he knows, give me a guaranteed winner, something I can't lose on. The sharp tells him, take Alabama on Saturday. The guy goes, great. Now give me another game so I can parlay it. Parlays are for suckers. The best thing about dying is that you can't bet any more parlays. If the betting sites are pushing you to bet parlays, guess what? It's their cash cow, their bread and butter, their run-to-the-bank profit center. They feed the bulldog on the public betting parlays. Heck, they feed the whole family and the neighborhood. Bookies and gambling site entrepreneurs vacation in the Caribbean on the backs of dumb dunderheads betting parlays. So stop betting parlays. Repeat after me. Stop betting parlays. Repeat after me. Stop betting parlays. I don't think you're repeating after me. I beg of all of you, stop betting parlays or I will go gambling mad.
Gambling Mad with Norman Chad is written by Norman Chad and ghost-written by Norman Chad. Executive producers are John Scheinberg and Rick Barrio-Dill. Produced by Norman Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Our associate producers are Bree Khoury and Asher Friedberg, and edited by Asher Friedberg with studio facilities at 360 Pod Studios, Beverly Hills.
Clear the air with Kia.
I wanted to go electric, but I also wanted something built here, not shipped in. That's how I found the EV6, built in the state of Georgia and packed with more United States and Canadian parts than any other car sold here, whether an EV or not. Sleek design, over 300 miles of range, and yeah, the EV6, it's a Kia. Same goes for the EV9. Big, bold, 3 rows, all electric, and assembled in the U.S.
If you're looking for American-built and electric, you don't have to choose. Just start with Kia. Movement that inspires.